to our November 8th, 2022 Village Board meeting. It is now 6:02. We're going to get started. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comment? Kathleen, you're just in time.
I know. A lot of breath, sorry.
It's all right, take your time.
I missed last week's meeting, and I wanted to say something because I read the mayor's message, and you, Gary, had put in about the spotted lanternfly, which I thought was a really good thing to bring to people's awareness. And it kind of clicked with me because the meeting before that, when you had the decision and the vote about replacing the trees on Route 9, there was such emotion about the trees and the beauty and et cetera, and some of the members of the board thought it would be thinking of a way to kind of do something to commemorate them. And then you had your message, and there's a lot of information out about that invasive species now. And the invasive species I'm referring to is the tree of heaven. That is a host plant for the spotted lanternfly. And I know that they're also going to be renovating the Lions Park, where there's many, many tree of heaven and allianthus along there, as well as the sawkill. And I didn't know whether or not to commemorate some trees that had to come down. It might be something that could be done to take down properly the tree of heaven to save the other native trees that may come down. I went to a talk they had at the Morton Library by the Cornell Cooperative Extension, and it was very, very interesting, and she talked about this and how there's a right way to do it at a certain time. But I just wanted to put that out there because it could be kind of all linked and be used together to come for some good. That's it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
As I said, you got Kathleen, thanks.
All right, if the board doesn't object, I would like to make a motion to try to change the order a little bit. We had Dick Graves here this evening who has a request in for a tree removal. And Dick lives on 8 Knollwood Road. And so I'd like to make, the tree commission has weighed in on this and has been approved by the tree commission to remove the tree. So I'd like to make a motion to recommend that this street tree be removed as recommended by the tree commission.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Motion passed. While we're on the trees, we'll finish that subject up. There is another one for Richard and Donna Stickle at 42 Mulberry Street. Access to a back of a property for maintenance of vehicles and for removal and replacement of an anticipated septic tank. This has been reviewed by the tree commission, and the tree commission has denied the removal of this tree. We typically follow their recommendations, so I'd like to make a motion to, as recommended by the tree commission, to deny the removal of the tree at 42 Mulberry Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
Vanessa. Discussion?
No, I just want to read into the record what the tree commission says.
Yes.
So the tree commission does not approve the removal of this tree. It is a healthy young tree lilac, one of a pair we planted in front of the house about 8 years ago and is in the village right of way. We feel that the property owner should make every effort not to remove it and find a way to work their plans around the tree's location. If the tree does get removed, we'd expect it to be replaced at the property owner's expense.
So
Any other discussion?
resolutions to follow tree commissions. recommendation.
We already had a first and a second, so yes.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Can you pass these? Okay, treasurer's report.
Okay, treasurer's report is for the period ending October 31st. The general fund ended the month with $56,951.25. The water fund ended the month with $113,425.95. And the sewer fund ended the month with $249,318.92. I just wanted to point out that our New York class investments, with the increase in the interest rates, are doing very well.
Thank goodness something's doing well.
So vouchers presented for payment in the general fund total $186,914.38. In the water fund, $54,451.81. In the sewer fund, $37,076.40. And we have a water, the capital water upgrade for $5,225. And we paid the new highway dump truck in the amount of $235,751.07. That's actually the dump truck and the mower, but we'll get to that. Escrow, $1,240.80. The reason that the general fund vouchers are so high this month is the liability insurance is in there, the mower, the turnout gear for the fire department, and then there were a lot of fire department repairs in this month. An operating statement is provided with the revenue and expenditures through November 8th. The water and wastewater billing and adjustments, as signed off by Trustee Nuneker, are presented for authorization.
I'd like to make a motion to get the water and wastewater adjustments approved as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, I have a couple budget amendments. So they kind of go hand in hand with the vouchers. The, from the capital streets, transfer from the capital, from the streets reserved to the highway equipment of $13,883, and that's for the purchase of the new mower. And Kyle did get 3 prices, and they are with the voucher and the invoices and the voucher. The streets, the purchase of the new highway dump truck, $219,018. And from the capital fire, $24,151 for the purchase of the turnout gear. And then going back to last month, from the capital office, $8,000 for the video conferencing equipment. Just to explain the highway dump truck, so we had received the insurance money last year, and that rolled into the fund balance. So we are using fund balance. However, that insurance money that we received last year was rolled into fund balance.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the budget amendments as presented.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? I'd just like to comment on the dump truck. It's been a long time in coming, and hopefully it's early, and we won't need it as soon as we think we should need it, but we're happy to have now that replacement dump truck, which, if everybody remembers, the previous one was destroyed by fire. So it took a long time to get here, but we now have it. So
And that loaner from Poughkeepsie was,
we had borrowed a truck from Poughkeepsie for last winter, and that was returned at the end of winter, back to them. All right.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Is that it?
That's it?
Very good, thank you. Okay, resolutions. The first one is for a 2023 extension of the CIT and VEAT contract. This is a yearly contract with Dutchess County. The agreement is something that has been ratified, and not ratified, but approved by our police department. It is normally something that we do. Although we get the training in addition to what the county does, we sign on and participate as needed with this training. So the police department has recommended that we approve the extension with the Dutchess County for the CIT and BAT training as we've done on a yearly basis. I'd like to make a motion to accept the extension agreement as presented. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Vanessa. Any discussion?
I'd just like to clarify for the record that CIT is Crisis Intervention Team and BEAT is
Thank you.
Behavioral Evaluation and Assessment Team.
Sure. Thank you.
Mostly because I had no idea what it was.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Passed. Very good. Next is reclassification of our Public Works Superintendent. So this has been going on for quite some time, where we, last year, through the budget price process, we approved to hire a person for the position of Department of Public Works. A committee was formed, a recommendation was made. We hired Kyle Amy for the Superintendent of Public Works position, and he has been working in that position since he's been hired. This is a civil service classification. We submitted his application along with the civil service application, and the civil service, Dutchess County Civil Service, has since said we do not meet that classification for what we were looking for. And the predominant issue was the number of years of construction experience that we don't meet. And in addition, what we were looking for from the Superintendent of Public Works wasn't a direct match to that. We knew that going in because we were looking for a manager position more than we were a person who could operate and do construction experience. So we knew there was an opportunity here. We took advantage of the opportunity. They have since said no, and they have asked us to go back and look at, can we find something else that would fit the needs of the village of Rhinebeck, and or can we try to draft our own? So I did an exhaustive search as a personnel manager, and so the resolution is, whereas Dutchess County Civil Service has denied a request to classify the position of Superintendent of Public Works for the village of Rhinebeck, and whereas the Dutchess County Civil Service has asked that we find a comparable job description in another municipality that can be modified, and whereas I did an exhaustive search of other New York State counties in civil service job classifications and at villages across the state, and whereas Putnam County has what is called a project manager classification that they use for similar classifications. And therefore be it resolved, I would make a recommendation that the village board authorize the revised public manager classification to be submitted to the Dutchess County Civil Service for approval. And this was all posted up on the website. And this information has been shared with Dutchess County Civil Service. They asked us to make the appropriate amendments to change it to fit what our needs and resend it back to them for their approval. I'm presenting it to you, the board, for just so that you know that here's the classification. It's a reclassification, if approved by Civil Service, to go forward and reclassify it as a village project manager, which still serves as providing the services to the village of Rhinebeck. I make a motion to accept the resolution to go forward and submit this to Dutchess County Civil Service. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Yeah, I would like to table this discussion to the end and after we go into executive session. Because so much of it is about this person's employment history and what the activities are. I don't see that this is a fit for what Kyle Amy is doing. He's more of an operations manager for the street department than anything else, and not a project manager for, public works projects that we have, although there is an overlap. But primarily, I think he's an operations manager. But I'd like to table it and go into executive session.
And the executive session would be for what purpose?
I have the state law right here.
I want for what you want.
The medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, blah, blah, blah.
But we're really not talking about the employment history.
Gary, absolutely,
let me
we're
finish?
talking about the, no, you,
Let me finish,
yeah.
please. I said, what we're asking for is the project description, not the employment history of the person who was hired for the Duke Village job.
My problem with this is that it isn't fitting the activities of a particular employee and what that employee is doing, and then that employee's employment history here over the last 6, 7, 8 months, or however long it's been. It's eminently appropriate to talk about that in executive session. I can't be candid, and none of us can, completely candid about what the limitations are, or what he's doing, or what.
But for the record, we have approved the position for a person to run this type, help us run the village. And this position,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
And-
Yeah, after a heated discussion, yes, we did that, yes.
Dutchess County does not have a position that fits operational
Okay,
manager.
but you worked on this by yourself. I really deliberately asked you not to do this by yourself with the labor attorney. So I don't know what you've been doing or what avenues you've pursued, but some of this stuff we could talk about in
My
executive session
avenue
also.
was to work with civil service. Our labor attorneys.
Nobody assigned you to do that. You just did it because you always tell everyone that you're in charge of personnel.
And I am.
I asked you to involve us and you chose not to.
I have not been asked to involve you into the search, anybody into the search of this classification. That was not done. And the board did not vote on approving doing that. As personnel manager,
I
yes,
asked
I
you
did look at it.
to avoid shoddy management practices, to include us on your search and what you were doing and what you were up to and what your liaise issues were.
And I shared that all with you in an email.
You did not. Absolutely
That
not.
has been shared. So let's,
No, it was
all right.
not.
Are you making a motion to go into
You
the,
shared that you were going it alone.
I shared the work that I did as the personnel manager.
6 months later when it popped up.
I haven't been working on it that long.
Are you? My
And most of my
suggestion-
interaction, as I said, was with civil service. And I've been
Okay.
working with the civil service department to
in a
help identify
silo
it.
with our labor attorney without getting board input or without reporting to the board. What you,
I did report to
What
the
you
board. I know, I
reported-
take offense. I reported to the board
with this.
the work that I did.
conclusion, yes, after a determination was made with civil service, I deliberately asked you to involve the board when they rejected him initially before a final determination was made, and you refused. Let's just be
I
honest
didn't
about it.
refuse. I did my work. I did my job as a personnel manager to
That's
do some
right.
work. I produced a work product.
Discretion would suggest.
And I shared it
that
with
you should
you.
not engage in shoddy management practices.
And I shared it
in
with the
a small
board.
community with just neighbors, working just by yourself without the use of the other trustees.
And
I've said this over and
I
over
shared
again.
this with the board so that you
You
had
are
all
the
the
titular
knowledge to do
head
this.
of personnel, like every mayor in New York. You're not the first mayor that New York has ever had, Gary.
And I presented this to the board
And you
for
failed.
your review.
And you were
This
rejected.
that's fine. I don't mind being rejected by civil service. I'm working with the civil service department to find
By
best
yourself in
avenue.
a silo with a labor attorney, yes.
I have had very few interactions with the labor attorney. My interactions have been with
I
civil
saw
service.
plenty of invoices.
You know,
I do approve those.
and the only time, he's called me more than I've called him.
Well, that's fine.
You know, I don't ask for that if he wants to call.
So are you suggesting?
So, no, if you want to go in, we'll take a vote. If you want to go into executive session and table this, we'll take a vote.
Okay. I do.
All right.
You just said that.
Take a motion. You make a motion to table it?
I'm making a motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
And it's prudent to wait until after the meeting to go. into
All in favor, say aye.
To table it until the end of the meeting?
Yes.
I'm in favor of tabling it until the end of the meeting, yes.
All right.
I object. Vanessa?
Just for the record, this conversation is exhausting. It's exhausting for me, and
Do you,
I'm just saying it is exhausting. We can't manage personnel in this village by committee. Like, someone, the mayor, has that happy duty. And frankly, I'm happy to let the mayor do it. As far as I'm concerned, he does keep us informed. I have known about this back and forth with civil service since it began.
you know that I'm not included in that stuff.
Well,
Every email I sent out to everyone.
You didn't send out an email between when we got rejected and now. It's been at least 90, 120 days.
So in many respects, like, this whole, like, who's in charge of personnel, I feel like is a question that has been asked of municipal attorneys, of NICOM, of everyone, and it has been answered by all of these
It
people.
is in
And
Lydia.
what? I'm not kidding, Brant. Like, this is
Every statute in the
time we
country
have
about
a
representative
personnel.
government says that the mayor's in charge of personnel. You have to say, I would write this statute
Someone
that way
in this
myself.
village has to be in charge of personnel.
That doesn't mean you go it alone on these important
So
decisions.
all 5 of us get on the phone with civil service? That's insanity.
No, I didn't say that. This person is in charge of 3 different plants, 3 different agencies.
Yes, and we had a whole discussion
So he should
about
bring
his job.
liaisons
Yes, and we
in
had
for
a
water,
whole
for
discussion about
wastewater.
his job description before we hired the person who's now in the
Yeah,
job.
he's been hired, he's
Like, I
doing
mean,
the
you're
job.
just
He's doing a good
relitigating
job.
the job.
I'm not.
And he has been working with water, and he
I
has been
pointed-
working with
I
wastewater.
pointed
And
out
so
that
claiming that he's not is,
I just claimed the
False.
opposite. I said he is more involved in operations with street, which is really close to being a DPW.
so,
So
What you're saying is you want to propose that he had be classified as not responsible for water, wastewater, and highway, that he only be responsible for highway? Is that your proposal?
no, I want him to spill over time to be as a manager.
Spill over time.
I've said this all along.
Yes, Brant, and we
We didn't.
belabored this at the beginning
Right.
in terms of, and you did not agree in the beginning with his position title. You did not agree. Let's, for the record, just, you didn't. And now you still
What I
don't
said
agree.
all
You
along
still do not agree.
Is no, Gary. First of all, there's no reason to talk about that anymore. I'm not rejecting that. I'm saying that he's closer to being a manager of street and general management principles, that kind of skill. We're using him in water and
Okay.
wastewater several hours a week. I said that was going to happen at the beginning. I
Why don't-
said
well-
a general management skills are worth about 10 hours a week. I said it ad nauseum at the beginning. It's playing out that way now.
And we voted, and the board approved, and we voted, we reallocated the pay based on 40%, 30%, 30% on your
Which
recommendation.
is outrageous.
And we approved a position for that classification of this person to do that work. And that's been voted on and approved.
I'm not relitigating that. I'm
You sound
talking.
like you are. You want to change the classification to be predominantly street.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's not what we approved.
That's been your point all along, and that's not what we voted to do. And that's not the job you
We have to talk about what has been happening over the last 6 months. I wanted to do that in executive session.
well, we can have that conversation in executive session, but I do think that it is appropriate that, now we're talking about 2 different things.
No, we're not, no, wait.
No, we are, because now we're sort of into 2 different things. It's like what the person who is in the position has been doing, which I think
Yes.
is a conversation.
It's a job description.
That is very appropriate.
It's road testing.
That is
Write
very
it up.
appropriate for executive session, but then there's this whole conversation that we have to have with civil service. I would like to empower Gary to figure this out with civil service, because the last thing I want to do is have to get on the phone with civil service. Because that's not my job, and it's not what I want to do, and I think it's silly to
When
say that, like, the whole board needs to be involved in these conversations
I
with
did
civil
this
service.
too, Lydia. I said, I tried to get a job description for a have-ze and a have-ze in water and wastewater. I worked on it myself with Martina. I told everybody what I was doing. It was germane to the water and wastewater department. Gary he hasn't talked to me, he hasn't talked to Brian, he hasn't talked to the other Brian.
Yeah, I talked to our superintendent of public works, and I get his input on what he's doing.
You gotta talk to the plant managers too, Gary. and
So
the
I haven't had a
liaison.
conversation with Brian Backman, but I've had a conversation with Brian Alex, and Brian Alex is over the moon. Over the moon.
Everyone is happy with.
Everyone is happy with all of
This is
the-
something we need to talk about in executive session.
But
That's
the
not-
point
this
of my
isn't-
story is why can't
this isn't
why
really what
can't we
I'm
just
hearing.
agree to have Gary manage this civil service issue?
He can, but right now he wrote something that Kyle is not doing, and he needed our help apparently. I don't know, this is wrong, man.
Your opinion is wrong.
It's not what he's doing.
All right.
We have a road-tested employee, 6 or 7 months. Why don't we write up what he's doing and then see if we can get that approved? You can get in trouble by
I do
having
have
the wrong
it
job
written up what
description.
he's doing. And I'm glad to share that with you right now.
It's not here.
I'm glad to share what our superintendent of public works has been doing. for-
Okay, are we not going to go into executive session or no? Because I can't, I'm going to be hamstrung from speaking. If you guys want to vote on this, go ahead. You think you're exhausted, my God.
Well, yeah, I get that.
All right.
I'm not gonna have you pontificate and I can't speak. It's not fair either. I asked for an executive session. It's illogical,
And I asked for a
Gary.
vote on the executive session.
Illogical.
I didn't deny it. I asked for a vote on the executive session. I said no.
Then why are we continuing
You said
this?
yes. I was waiting for Vanessa.
So great when there's only 4 of us here.
Right.
I'm gonna say no.
Well, then we're in a draw, right?
And a draw.
Okay, and your motion up.
My motion is to work with the civil service as defined, to work with a project manager, to work with civil service department in order to
Sort through this project manager.
move
thing.
forward to have what has been recommended by when I spoke to Putnam County, that they do this for their type of situations in Putnam County, and the civil service asked me to rewrite it and amend it to what we need. I made those changes. I'm making a motion to move forward to work with civil service.
Wait. The motion is that you're putting forward the resolution for the job description that you just read, that you just presented. It's on the web.
Correct. Right, what I just said. The project manager, the village is called a village project manager.
So this resolution is literally just authorizing that the classification be submitted to Dutchess County Civil Service for approval. It's
Right.
not
That's
saying that we're
That's
gonna
right.
accept it, it's
That's
just
right.
saying that he now is allowed to go to civil
To
service
see if
That's
it even
correct.
gets.
to see if he even gets
That's what I'm
it.
asking.
That's right.
And
Yes,
I think we should do that,
yes.
because
Okay.
otherwise this conversation,
So is that a second then?
yes, that was.
Public comment then?
That was the
The
second.
wrong job description.
Okay.
But trustee comment, it's the wrong job description.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Opposed? Thank you.
Exhausting, huh? Really?
All right, next on the agenda is the police contract. It's a memorandum of agreement, which is a change to our UPSEU Village of Rhinebeck Police, change to the 2021, 2023, 2024 collective bargaining agreement. And whereas the MOA changes page 5, Article 7, Section A of the wages to be revised so the unit members do not have to wait 2 years to receive an increase. And whereas the MOA adds new Article 7, Section G, to set the hourly rate for unit members to attend the police academy. Okay, and so whereas unit members have voted and approved the MOA, therefore be resolved that the Village of Rhinebeck is agreeable to the MOA as submitted by the UPSEU, the part-time police officers unit, and the collective bargaining agreement covering the period from June 1st, 2021 to May 31, 2024, should be modified as set forth in the MOA.
Goodness.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Discussion.
So this is the MOA that we've already seen
Right.
and talked about and
Yeah.
agreed.
Yes, this is not new news to anybody.
Great.
You've all seen this.
Okay.
This is now, they've voted and approved.
Right, great. Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
So carried. All right. Next resolution, Astor Bridge.
Oh.
Okay. We've discussed this, we've mentioned this before, that DOT is going to be replacing the bridge over the Landsman Kill, known as the Astor Bridge, right? And that project is due to start sometime in 2023.
And Gary, that's the one on Route 9, not the one on South Parsonage.
The-
Just to
yeah,
clarify.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Astor Bridge on Route 9
Yeah.
over the Landsman Kill,
Yeah.
yes. And that project is due to start in 2023. That's an important project to us because that Astor Bridge has a lot of historical value, even though itself, according to
The
the
only-
Highway Department, is not historic,
Yeah, the only thing that's
Right.
technically historic are the handrails.
the handrails on the bridge. But we, as the Village of Rhinebeck, would desire to have be very much involved in the style of the bridge, the platform, the sides of it, the lighting of it, and the main issue is there's a pedestrian walkway, which now DOT says is not part of the bridge. It's really a secondary, and that becomes the responsibility of the village to now design and build and pay for a pedestrian bridge, a pedestrian walkway that's now adjacent to the bridge.
Oh my God.
So we have,
Is this along with the culvert that apparently we're also responsible for?
yes, yeah. And the drainage repairs that we just did this week that we're responsible for. But anyways, independent of that, the Village of Rhinebeck is engaged with New York State Department of Transportation and the New York State Historic Preservation Office, and in Section 106, coordination for the resurrection of the historic Astor Bridge. And whereas the Astor Bridge has historic and cultural significance, and the village seeks to ensure that its value is not lost in the reconstruction project, and whereas to provide the village with the most cost-effective proposal for a defined scope of work, we request the engineering support of Ty and Bond. And therefore, be it resolved that the village authorize these services as described in its task order shall be, upon notice to proceed with the execution of the task order, working with Ty and Bond. So Ty and Bond has submitted a task order, 2022, number 33. I'm not going to go into all the work, but they basically are going to charge us their hourly rate for doing consulting work and working with us on New York State DOT bridge to move forward. The plan is for 8 hours for the submission. That was to review and provide comments on New York State plans, that's 8 hours. Prepare recommendations for mitigation, sketches, figures, demonstrating recommendations, and incorporation of existing reproduction of new elements, 8 to 16 hours, and virtual meetings, 1 to 2 hours for prep plus meeting time. This is not new. I've asked Trustee Lewitt, who is on the road liaison, and our Superintendent of Public Works, Kyle Amy, to be involved with New York State DOT, and they've been engaged in conversation so far, working with them, and they're working hard to try to come up with a plan before the construction starts that we can preserve the character coming into the south side of the Village of Rhinebeck with the Astor Bridge. So my motion is to approve the Astor Bridge technical assistance task order as presented by Ty and Bond. Do I have a second?
Second.
Right, Vanessa, discussion.
Do they have a, like, not to exceed? Did they provide like a not to exceed amount, like?
What it says is the estimate's $9,500 based upon the hours
Yes, excuse me.
that the mayor just read.
Okay.
And it says, in such case, if there's more hours required, Ty and Bond will provide an estimate of hours and will proceed with the services requested upon written approval.
Okay.
So I'm concerned about this becoming, like you said, open-ended, but
I think we can manage it though. If we work
we can
with-
manage it according to that language.
Right.
I wish we could see if we had preliminary drawings and see what they're planning on doing, and then we could decide what we want to do. It's like kind of amorphous at this point.
So Trustee Lewitt has been engaged with them, and they have had conversations about the makeup of the sides of the bridge, the concrete, I don't know what you call them, I forget what we call them, but they're the sides that you drive along. They use a standard format, a standard concrete barrier, right? Kind of like what you would see coming across the Rhinebeck Bridge, I think. That's their standard. We would like to see a different standard. Rick is working with others to try to find something that's more amenable to what our design would be in terms of coming into the village of Rhinebeck. But we need engineering support to do that. We can't do it without it.
Because it's got to be, crash tested and safety.
They have to be approved. There's a standard that they have to.
Right.
And
They probably have
I wish
questions.
Rick was here because it's like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and we're a tier something bridge, and we need to find that barrier that supports the classification that we're at for that bridge.
So basically, like DOT has a basic design for, whatever tier bridge this is.
Yes, and
Yep.
cookie cutter.
And so we can work around the cookie cutter side of it. Kyle's nodding his head. Okay.
They might
Yeah.
have different cut sheets, they might have a few different options.
I think DOT has no other options except for the one. I believe that's what we're trying to do, is
DOT
give them
creative.
options so that we can say, this is what we want in terms of meeting the design standard. This is why we need engineering help.
Really?
Are we in any way trying to like reproduce the historical elements, the decorative historical elements of the sides of it?
I think the best we can do, according to talking to Trustee Lewitt, is the lighting, right? Because there's nothing else that is an historical element in terms of that bridge, right? Except for the view, the aesthetic view of it, and we don't want their cookie cutter design for that aesthetic view. And we really believe we can do better than that as an entrance into the village than having that.
Right.
Woof. Okay.
$9,500. Any other discussion?
And it is on hourly basis, so if it's less, it's less.
There we go.
And if it's more, we get to review. So,
Okay. All right.
all in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good.
A very unenthusiastic eye on how helpful DOT has been.
Well, but
I know.
the fact that we are engaged and
Yeah, the
need
fact
to
that
be
we have,
engaged,
yeah, the fact that we have a voice at all. I think
we
is
need to have,
something
we need
to
to have,
engage.
we need to have a voice in this very important project.
We do.
Totally, yeah, no, I get it.
We can't let them just do,
Oh, God,
Cookie cutter.
are you kidding me?
right? We do.
I mean, do we have the authority to block
Probably
if they
not.
wanted to go forward?
If they,
It's a state road and technically they have
They
control of all
own it.
bridges.
yeah,
Hey,
we can control the pedestrian walkway.
because we're
How's
paying
that?
I
for
don't
it.
understand how that's not part of the bridge. Like, is it literally gonna be separate?
So, interesting, and again, I wish Rick was here, but the decision that has to be made is the pedestrian walkway a supporting structure. If it's not a supporting structure, then we lose some leverage. If it is a supporting structure, we gain leverage. So that's a determination that needs to occur.
Oh, like what it currently is right now?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Nice.
And we're doing our best to get out in front of this before it's committed to design.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, this is a subject I brought up when we put the
Yeah, I know that.
gates in up on Astor Street, that's when we first were notified. We weren't even notified, the town was notified. We didn't get notification. We interjected ourselves and said, timeout, you gotta work with us. So we did the interjection to going to them. I did, to make that happen.
Wow.
So, and they've agreed to talk. They didn't say
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
to
like,
talking.
DOT is always very good at, they're very nice once you get them on the phone. The trick is. Yeah. The trick is getting them on the
Okay.
phone.
Current projects. We're keeping these on the schedule just so we can do it up. If anything comes up on them, is there anything on the water plant upgrade?
The drawings are being completed for the engineering, and they'll probably present next month with some more detailed drawings as far as the engineering upgrades are concerned.
And I've already submitted $13,000 for engineering services towards the grant.
Yeah, do you want to talk about wastewater since we got news on that?
Yeah, that we did not get the grant for the WIA grant for the wastewater improvements, although we already have 0% financing, which these days is becoming more and more coveted.
Precious commodity.
They did say that there will be another round next year.
There's another round next year, yeah. And we might choose, we'll meet, Karen and I and Kyle will meet with the engineers and see if maybe we should proceed with it. And
But without the grant?
yeah, and then we could still go in for next year because we're still going to be in the process of design by then.
Yeah, the question is, how much money do we want to spend between now and next year on the
Yeah.
wastewater department? I think that's we need to figure out.
Well, we had a proposal to do the full-blown engineering for just the other day, and I said, we're not ready for this.
Yeah,
What was
'cause
it, like 380?
300, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should put a pause on the wastewater treatment plan and engineering expenses until we're ready to do another submission.
we have to watch the calendar then, because we don't want to lose our commitment with his,
Well, I'm
0%
assuming Delaware
financing.
Engineering will help us with that
yeah,
process.
if that's an option, yeah.
Right.
They'll let us know.
But for now, we're going to table the
Yeah,
engineering.
for now, no, there's nothing going on.
Right, okay. Center Street. A lot of information on Center Street. There was some new updates that came out from Ty and Bond. Brandy became ill today, has been diagnosed with COVID. So she was unable to attend the meeting, but she did send an alternative plan out in terms of the proposals. We're now up to 4 proposals for the Center Street Bridge, and just to summarize, the proposal 1, which was all and everything, was 1.74, 1,740,000 to be specific, and we all kind of choked when we heard that. We asked for 2 other amendments based on that to the Water Center Street project. And they came back with, well, based on our recommendation, they came back with no drainage and no curbs, right? But still do the Center Street water main and the drainage improvements. That was $810,000. This was all discussed at our last monthly meeting. And the alternative 3 was the Center Street water main and drainage improvements, no drainage, no curb, no water main north of East Market Street, right? And the mill and overlay all of Center Street. And then the last meeting, we also came up with another option, option 4, well, excuse me, that option 3 was $670,000. Alternative 4 is Center Street water main and drainage improvements, but no drainage, no curb, no water main north of East Market Street, and mill and overlay East Market Street to South Street. Don't do the other part. And that's $590,000 to do. So we're bringing the project down, but we're throwing stuff out. Just to be clear. We're throwing stuff away to bring the cost down. We're not getting any cost optimization here in terms of doing that. So that's where we're at currently, at 590,000, 670,000, 810,000, and 1,740,000 to do it all.
So no matter what, we've like blasted through both CHIPS and ARPA funds, no matter what.
All right, so let's kind of look at the funding a little bit. So from funding, what we have available,
Yeah.
our CHIPS fund, we were up to like $217,000, and then we had Manor, Coisine, Huntington, and Rockefeller for paving, and that was $174,000 of CHIPS money that was going to come out of that 217. Suzanne's here. She's very sad that we're not doing Manor.
Sorry.
Right? Manor, we ran into a drainage issue that we need to re-engineer that street to be able to get the drainage to work properly. And so the paving contractor said, I'm not going to touch it until you re-engineer it, which is a wise choice. We'd rather have it done right. So we pulled that. So the 174 went down to 112. All right. So out of the 217, we're spending 112 on paving this year, which leaves us $105,000 to move forward in terms of CHIPS money. And next year we'll get probably another 50, right? 50 is what we get, if I remember, in CHIPS money. So we'll have like 150,000 going into the project in CHIPS money next year. Plus we also have the ARPA money, which was $232,000 of ARPA money. So 150 plus the 232 gives us $380,000, and we're still at 590. We're $200,000 away from making this project whole.
That's all from general, so does
Right.
that,
There's also, water would pay for some of it, I'm assuming.
right.
We did speak finally about having a lot of the ARPA fund go for the water line though.
We did, that's the 242. Right, but we're still 200,000 short of being able to do even the
Yeah.
base minimum, which is 590,000, which pared this project way back.
Whatever happened to the idea of bonding for any of these instead of spending cash?
We haven't looked into that, because I think we really needed, in my opinion, we needed to come down to what we wanted to do before we decide to bond for it.
Right, okay. Well, in that case, I think that we should do either alternative 2 or alternative 3. And alternative 3, I mean, you've made a very eloquent argument that we don't need the drainage things replaced, the big
Yeah,
The big one.
new storm drains.
Yeah, the new storm, we don't need storm drains, and so I don't think that we need alternative one, which, thank God. But, and then you made a very second eloquent argument that north of East Market, the copper lines are doing fine. I mean, yes, ideally, we would have it all be on the main, but it's not that big of a deal. that
For
it's
10
not.
years, yeah, it should have, and I did say that I was gonna speak to Brian, and he says, yeah, we can forego that and just do the water main from Market to south. So that
Right.
would bring us to option 3, unless we choose not to pave
The other part.
Right.
That
Market to
doesn't make
Livingston, which doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
Because that's so rough. Anyway.
Yeah, that
That's
needs
just
to be
horrible.
right. So I think that at the very least, we need to do alternative 3.
Yeah,
I'd like to propose alternative 5.
Right, which is don't do the water at all and just do.
Alternative 5 is, and I had a conversation with Rick today, and just for the record, so everybody knows, Trustee Lewis not here. His father passed away on Friday, and so our prayers are with him and his family as they're going through the grieving process. And he took a much deserved day to be with family. So sorry for not mentioning that, but I did talk to Rick, because we went into this project, we said, wow, it'd be great if we had all the money to be able to do it, and we didn't have to borrow, because we already had a lot of other projects going on that we're borrowing from. It's very clear we don't have enough money to do what we want to do, given the scope of work. So the alternative that I spoke to Rick about, and he was in agreement with, was, you know what? We can maybe get by. We know that the water out there, that main needs to be replaced, but we have a lot more breakage on Rhinecliff Road than we do on this road in terms of number of water main breaks that we have on a yearly basis. We've had 2 out here, and we've had a half a dozen on Rhinecliff Road. And maybe we could do a bond or look at doing another water main project at a bigger scope and bring in Rhinecliff Road and this road and bond for the whole thing to get that done at one time as another major project to go forward and ask for grant money to do that going forward. Because there's going to be grant money available for at least the next couple of years, hopefully, to be able to do these projects. So to summarize, my proposal is, let's try to get by. Let's pave and put the 2 catch basins in that we need to do, because those catch basins are failed. Let's pave Center Street, put the catch basins in, right? And look at making improvements to this building, which the work that Vanessa's been doing on the flex deck design. And maybe we have enough money without borrowing anything to do both those projects, and then we can look at bonding a bigger project.
so I'm not in favor of that. I think we really need to do the Center Street water line. We're gonna spring a leak, and then you're gonna pave.
And,
I mean, it's the same logic as, you know, we looked at the fitness of the copper lines between Market and Livingston.
I understand the logic, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that
It's gonna be,
I didn't want to borrow, I was more looking at saying where we're going to get the 200,000 from. If we even do the bare minimum, or where we're going to get the 400,000 from to do the 300,000 to do the next one.
it's well known that it's very difficult to get a grant on water lines. The moon and the stars lined up for that one time that we got 2.2 million. That's very unusual. I don't see that we're going to get a grant on Rhinecliff Road.
Well, I hope that's not true, because we really would, that's going to be an expensive project
Otherwise,
to
we're
do all of
not going to
Rhinecliff
afford
Road.
I get
I
it.
mean, there is, I think that town of Rhinebeck is classified as a disadvantaged community. I don't know if like there's some leverage with that, because the water main would be serving Rhinecliff, which is categorized in that manner,
It might
maybe.
affect interest rate, but I don't think that makes it any more likely to get a grant. And it's going to take us 2 years to get a grant. I really just,
I guess I'm concerned about paving, if we're just gonna have to rip it up again, if there's,
Yeah.
there will be another leak.
there will be another.
This
Granted, but we've already
Yeah.
run into that problem Immediately after we paid Violet, we had to do a patch and replace. Livingston, we've had to do a patch and replace. Mulberry, we've had to do a patch and replace. So
Yeah, and
We've done that.
it happens, but I think it would be, I think it would be more responsible of us to, you know, not do this knowing that we're gonna have to do that, you know, within a year or two. I mean, how many times has this broken right out in front of Village
3
Hall?
times, I think.
3 times.
Yeah.
In
And
the
it's,
last like
we know
2
it
years or something?
in the last 5 years.
5 years.
It's a 2-inch water main,
Right. It
and
needs to
it's
be well over 6
tuberculated.
inches or
It's
something.
the clear area in the middle is about less than an inch across,
Yeah.
and it feeds these homes.
The pipe is in terrible condition, don't get it wrong, it's
Yeah.
really, really bad.
I-
The question becomes, how much money, where are we gonna get the money from to do it?
I mean, I don't know if we have much of a choice beyond bonding, unless, you know, I don't know, unless the water district can loan the village.
We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. But, you know, I feel like we've kind of let this go as long as we can, and it's time to do something. And I fully appreciate that interest rates just went through the roof, and pipes are now 6 times more expensive than they were 4 months ago, and all of the rest of it. But at the same time, you know, it's our responsibility to make sure that the people on the street have water.
We paid for a lot of engineering for this already. It's-
Well, there's that as well. I mean, I don't think the
That
engineering.
won't go away.
Yeah, we're not gonna
We
lose
still have it.
that. But I don't think we can, I can't in good conscience vote to spend a whole bunch of money to pave when I know that the water lines underneath it are just gonna crack in two.
I agree.
And I think the cheapest option that we have on all of that, making sure that we sort of do the minimum that we need to do, is alternative 3, which at $670,000 is 300 more than we have in our bank account. I mean, does water have any money to throw at that? Like,
Yeah, I think that's a good question.
if we sort of use like
We can
water
do that.
funds and then CHIPS and then use ARPA to fill in the budget gap, instead of using ARPA to pay for the water share and then CHIPS, do you know
Well,
what I
it
mean?
doesn't matter, the money's the money. I mean, so we have the 100, well, next year we have 115 chips, 232 in ARPA,
Right, and then
and we have to
does,
find the rest somewhere else.
yeah, does water have 300 that it could pay for?
It would have to come out of fund balance. That's the only place we would have it.
So I mean, short of bonding, I think that's our only solution on this one.
Right, and
You know where I stand. I mean, it's,
you want it to come out of
No.
your fund balance?
Well, you know, I get that. I mean, like, you're being responsible and you're saving your fund balance for a rainy day.
This might be a rainy
This might be the rainy day, though.
well, didn't we pledge 300th of our fund balance for this big project?
For the water.
Yeah, that's pretty
For the
much.
water plant.
So, I don't know what I don't
So,
remember, what's our fund balance right now in water?
I think it's like 500,000.
And then
Yeah.
we pledged 3 of it.
And so there's not enough.
So there's 200 left.
I
I
think,
mean, we can get a,
I just have a suggestion. Maybe we can take a look at the long-term debt schedule itself
Mhm.
overall, and then I'll come to the table with the fund balance in the water, which I only have off the top of my head right now.
Right, yeah.
And I think we could probably have a better discussion.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think the issue is what time Ron said we needed to go out for permitting this
Yeah.
month, November, December, to be able to have this project shovel-ready in the springtime.
Well, can we
Just-
have that conversation, I mean, I don't know, can we have that conversation over email?
I think we should approve this and figure out a way to.
Yeah, can we approve alternative 3 and then
Yeah,
figure out a way to
and
pay
then
for it?
Figure out
And then
how
we
we're gonna
can
pay for
have-
it later. That sounds real
That's a good
prudent,
idea,
right?
too. If the board thinks it needs done, yeah, you can do
Are you
that.
writing the check?
Just so you
Yes,
guys
on
know.
this piece of paper.
It's $283. $283,000 is what we have to come up with.
I also have, I'm sorry,
Oh, right.
I have the sludge to remove, and that's $250 right now. I'm waiting for the gas, I'm waiting for oil to go down for the carting costs. And then we have 250, we're talking about replacing, how many water meters, Kyle? Like 400 or something?
Almost 400 water meters.
That's gonna be a couple hundred grand.
Because they're doubling in price.
Oh my God. Is
And
there any good news? Can I have some good news?
So anyway, but we'll figure it out.
All right, so let's pursue it if we want. I'm just trying to present all the alternatives, so you have all the options, you know, because
Yeah, no, I get that.
we did have this building as well, just to say that there was an important thing, just for the record, I don't know how long that furnace is gonna last.
No, I know.
I don't know how long the hot water heater's gonna
Well, I
last.
mean, that's why I think taking a good, strong look at the debt schedule is a good idea. Because, you know, you're right. And ARPA funds were designed for exactly this kind of project, either Center Street or Village Hall. And so, yeah.
And we could do it
Yeah.
without going into debt, that's my point, that's all I'm
Just
saying.
using ARPA funds for, yeah. No, I hear that.
We could use existing money and not go into debt, if we did the building. and-
I mean, the building would be about $400,000 as well
Well, it was, what was it? It was 242,000 for the
for the VRF system.
heating,
Heating,
cooling
cooling.
system. And then we were looking at plugging holes and stuff around here, not
Yeah.
doing the walls. Because that original bid was 142, and we said, no, we're not gonna do that.
But roof, and then, yeah, so maybe less than 142, but still something.
It was gonna be more than 232 and $773.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, let's keep this moving. I'm gonna make a motion that we pursue alternative number 3 for $670,000. And table any approval until we come back next month with a review of our long-term debt and money sources.
Wait, so, hold on. Does that, with the goal of allowing time bond to go out for permitting?
No, we can't, well, until we, no, we have, we're basically saying this is our option of choice.
Okay.
And our option of choice still has issues that we need to resolve, which is
Financial.
our financial issues.
Right.
And so they can't.
If they go out for permitting in December, is that okay?
They're not here to answer, but
They're not here to answer.
they said,
Prefer not to.
We will
but
assume that they
will
say
have
yes.
to-
So
they said
Okay.
November if you want to be shovel-ready in spring.
And December if we want to be shovel ready in
Late.
I don't know.
late spring?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, a month after that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pursue alternative number
That we're
three,
going to pursue
table.
alternative 3 and table it until we can figure out the finances in December.
All right, all in favor, any discussion, any other discussion?
Nobody
Do I
else.
have a second?
I'll
Sorry.
second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There we go.
Okay.
Okay. No update on Village Hall, our sidewalk. I did not get anything update from Brandy Attaybon on that. 6 Mulberry Street, we've received the cover letter and the seeker notice of intent to become lead agency. When we passed the resolution that authorized me to go out automatically and submit this and bring it to the board, just in case there was any edit changes that you want to make before I pursue going out to contacting the other organizations as for lead agencies.
I had a question about this. Because we could do this in a way that we're moving this forward, but we're asking the planning board, that we're making a resolution, we prefer that the planning board become lead agency.
Well, they're on here to be
Yeah,
a
they're-
part
Yeah,
of it.
but
They are one of the ones that are going to get the request.
he said, our attorney said we could circulate a notice just informing the other agencies that a lead must be chosen within 30 days, and further state the village board believes the planning board has expertise in the matter. The way we have it worded now is that the planning board, if there's no objections, that we are the lead.
The planning board has asked that we not put them into that position, that we not back them into a corner. They've specifically asked that we not back them into a corner.
But they'll still consider it.
Of course they will,
Yeah.
but they've asked that we don't
Force it.
force it.
Okay,
Yeah, so just so you know.
all right.
That's.
That's-
Any
That's
changes?
my concern.
Yeah,
All right.
no, I get that.
So it's really, I know it's a resolution, but it's really not, you've already been authorized to go out and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
All right.
Any motion?
There you go. No.
Karen, anything on MuniLink?
I'm requesting
Already
to
authorized.
close the water sewer, I'm sorry, go ahead and finish.
Nope, nothing.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm requesting to close the water and sewer and the finance offices on Monday, November 14th for our go-live date. I'm a nervous wreck. I still have all the meter stuff to deal with Neptune 360. I have Invoice Cloud, which will be taking over all of the online payments. Thank you, Vanessa and Lydia, for helping me with the notice to our residents. That will be going out tomorrow.
Great,
So it's all coming together.
fantastic. Well done.
Yes.
But I do need a resolution to close the office for that day.
Yes, so if you want to, I'll make the motion that to close the water, sewer, and finance offices on November 14th to allow our department to pull together all the necessary data to go forward.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 So carried.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Yeah, yeah,
Well done.
yeah.
And I just want to make special thanks to Chrissy Deneau, who has worked very hard
Absolutely,
at
yes.
pulling together all of our water accounts and wastewater accounts, going through each one on an individual basis, cleaning up all of the things that were incorrect in terms of having delinquent old accounts and multiple listings of accounts and all that kind of stuff. So special thanks to Chrissy Deneau for really doing a wonderful job pulling that together.
She has, yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, pending projects. Is there anything on compost?
I just want to say congratulations to the Woods, where their HOA board has agreed to, independent of any municipal subsidy, their HOA board is now supplying residents of the Woods with composting bins, where before, with just the village compost program, we had about 15 households in the Woods participating in our village compost project. And now that the HOA board has made it so convenient for the residents of the Woods, we have about 50 households, and that's almost half of the households at the Woods. So it's really an incredible thing that they did.
And they're just doing it independent of our pilot and all the rest
Yeah,
of
so
it?
doing it on their own.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Pete's here, Sergeant Dunn is here. I haven't received anything from Nikon Co. on the antenna, have you?
Yeah, go.
If you'd like, yes, please. If you have an update.
I got an email today from New York Communications just asking for another week to finish up their paperwork for the survey for the company, for the tower. And once they get all that information, they're going to send it over to SARB, who's the liaison for the tower itself. Once they get that and everything checks out the specifications, then they would get hold of the village. And then if they seem to think everything's going to be okay, then the village will just have to sign off on it to allow the police and fire to put their antennas on this tower. If the village is willing to do that.
So-
So that's just one more week. They said they need to finish up the paperwork on the process of it.
So we're now here instead of,
No.
no? Okay.
The decision still needs to be
It's
made.
made, yes.
We don't have pricing.
Okay.
So-
First, we needed kind of their engineering review to say, does it work, does it fit, does it not interfere, does it do everything that it was supposed to be doing?
Got it.
And that's their review,
Okay.
and then we'll get the cost of pieces and parts to go with that to put on the antenna, but we don't have pricing yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this was basically all the engineering that had to be done. So the company on the tower needed to see New York Communications information to see if everything would work on the tower itself, if that was going to be okay, square footage, weight, all those kinds of specifications. And then they submit that to the company, and then the company would say yes or no, that will work or it won't work. And then from that point, if they say it'll work, then it comes to the village to decide on, if we're going to go here or somewhere else.
Okay.
So they're asking for another week. They've been working on it, and I'm giving them all the information I can, so.
While we have Sergeant Dunn here, is it okay if I make a change to the schedule to talk about our police UTV?
Yeah.
If you don't, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, quite some time ago, we put out, we approved an RFP to go out to bid for a UTV for our police department. They have been since working to get appropriate bids in, to come in. They have a bid that has been submitted. It's from Dutchess Recreational Vehicles.
There's three, Dutchess Rec, Arctic Adventures, and Texas Polaris.
Yes. So, but the total cost is $30,090, is that correct?
30,000, well, my recommendation is to go with the Arctic Adventures, 30,645.98. And I put that in the write-up and also in the email I sent. It has all the specifications and all the bids, the prices, and the machine that best fits for what our needs were was the one from Arctic Adventures, so.
I'm sorry, which one? There was three bids. Dutchess
bids.
Recreational,
So Dutchess Rec,
$30,090.
30,098, Arctic Adventures, 30,645.98, and Texas Polaris, 28,000.
And your recommendation is for which one?
Was that Arctic Adventures,
Arctic Adventures.
30,645
Yes.
for the specifications.
And we have approximately $15,000 in donations.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
That we received for the purchase of this. The balance would have to come from our police
Capital
cap
reserve.
fund,
Please.
capital fund, which there is sufficient money to cover this.
Correct.
So I'd like to make a motion, and we have discussion. I'd like to make a motion to accept the bid from Arctic Adventures for $30,645.98 for the 2022 utilitarian terrain vehicle for our police department. Have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Is this a replacement?
No, it's a new vehicle, something we don't have. It's utilized during all the events we have here in the village.
Do you have somewhere covered for it to live?
That's gonna be in our garage.
You have a garage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah. That's our plan, is to utilize our garage.
I didn't have one that was.
It's a single car garage.
Oh,
Just so you know.
I was like,
No.
where? I've been in the fire department. I mean, the police department.
Is it, can you, you have a license plate on it, you can take it on the road?
Yeah, it'll be utilized for law enforcement, yes, and it'll have radios and lights on it. And also be lettered up, also, as a village police department on it.
How
So
quickly do you
similar
think
to-
you could get it? How quickly would you get it?
With everything going on right now, I wouldn't even gather, I would say 6 months to a year.
Oh,
But I'm not, everybody's telling me everything's back ordered, so I'm hoping less than that, but I don't know yet.
Ideally before the next.
Ideally
Fair.
before, I would like, springtime, late spring, I hope.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Well, thank you very much.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay. Anything on the water, Soho, Grasmere water?
The engineer submitted a drawing for the meter pit, and we accepted it. And they also wanted to leave the old 4-inch line under Mill Street and keep it live with the 6-inch, new 6-inch line, or 8-inch, whatever it may be. And we said that we really don't want to do that. We want to vacate the old one, so we don't have too much plumbing underground that we could spring a leak in the future, so. Randy was going to give that feedback back to the engineer and the project manager.
Do we know when they're, because this was originally going to be done in October, do we know?
They're not going to make this,
I know they're down there.
yeah. So we'll see.
All right. Village Hall Flex Tech, Vanessa, anything?
I did reach out to ME Engineering to ask if they had a hazmat consultant, just to better understand if there would be any anticipated asbestos remediation if we were to move forward with the project, so we can get a better read on that. And just waiting to schedule that meeting.
Okay. Back back into purchase requests. We have a purchase request from the fire department, and the fire department, just so everybody knows, the fire department is currently on their own network, but their
It's
needs,
like wireless network,
well, yes,
yeah, internet network.
telephone and data,
Okay.
right? And their usage has exceeded the bandwidth. It's and the chief is here, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe what they've been getting in the past from Charter or Time Warner or Spectrum, whichever one you want to call them, is basically because they're a fire department, they get it for free.
Oh.
But it's a low bandwidth service option that they provide, and their needs are far exceeding the bandwidth that they're getting on their internet connection. Quite some time ago, we reached out to PCA to see is it possible to get them onto our network here in the village, right? And it's absolutely is possible to do, right? And get them a better service. It would still come out of the fire department budget to do, but they gave us a bid of $1,849.96 to do this work to connect the fire department to our village network and reconnect all of their computers. So I'm making a motion to approve the bid from PCA for $1,849.96 to connect the fire department to the village of Rhinebeck, Ethernet and telephone connection.
And that would come out of the fire department budget? Okay. Second?
Any discussion? Did I miss anything? All in favor say aye.
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 So passed. Very good.
Good me.
Okay. We have a special request from the Autism Support Committee to use Village Hall for the holiday tree lighting. This is by me, as a member of the Autism Support Committee. This is for November 19th, starting from 5 p.m. to 6:30, to use this Village Hall as the sensory safe space for those who are on the spectrum or those who have any neurological issues can come up here and watch the tree lighting as part of watch out the windows here, but also have the opportunity to have a special visit with Santa prior to it. So I'd like to make a motion to approve my request for the Autism Support Committee to use the Village Hall as a sensory safe space on November 19th for the holiday tree lighting.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's nice that Santa's coming.
All in favor, say aye. Early, he's on the 19th.
Very busy this time of year.
Yeah. He's taking time out of his schedule. Okay, minutes approval. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from October 11th, 2022.
Second.
Second. All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of October 25th, 2022.
With the corrections?
It's all the amendments.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, Martina, you,
Yeah.
okay, so with the amendments. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed. Okay.
Second?
Second for that one.
What?
We need a second for the 25th.
Oh,
Second.
Brand seconded.
Thank you.
do we want to go through the committee meetings?
Oh, God.
You're right. I'm going to move on to personnel discussions. Well, first let me ask, is there anything, nobody's here to represent the tree commission. Vanessa, you're here to represent Climate Smart. Is there anything you want to say?
Sorry, I'm just scanning here. I think the only update I have is that the CAPI study has been postponed again. So this is our greenhouse gas emissions inventory that we're doing with 8 other municipalities in Dutchess County. And we've been waiting since COVID. It's been delayed, everything. So it's going to now be starting in January. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay. Lydia, anything on comprehensive plan?
Their next meeting is Thursday from 7 to 9 here. And the main committee is starting to receive reports out from the subcommittees with data and recommendations. So if you're curious as to what the subcommittees have been thinking about, feel free to start coming to the comprehensive plan committee meetings.
Yeah, and I should mention, recommendations related to climate change and the environment have been submitted to Lydia.
Yeah, both Vanessa and a member of the planning board have submitted, Vanessa submitted ideas on the environment, and a member of the planning board submitted areas where the zoning code has been particularly problematic, actually, for the comprehensive plan committee to think about. So all of the data is being generated and sent into the main committee, who's going to be probably fairly overwhelmed with the amount of information that it is. And they're also thinking about, there's been a small hiccup with the survey, so they're going to be talking about that on Thursday night. But we expect the survey to be out probably shortly after Thanksgiving. Hopefully.
Okay, personnel. I'd like to make a motion to, I'm going to do this in bulk, since there is 3, employee number 31 for 45 hours, employee number 10 for 35 hours, and employee number 6 for 40 hours. These all have been approved and reviewed by our treasurer, and hours are all there and accounted for. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the vacation buyout request as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Very good. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Thank you all. Enjoy.
The fastest meeting we've had.